So far, we've explored why we can't possibly implement every user experience ourselves and how we need to scale our influence through services, resources, and standards. Those are all essential, but they won't solve the whole problem. You see, here's the sticking point. Your colleagues aren't UX practitioners, and if we're honest, most of them don't particularly want to be. They see UX as your job, not theirs, and left unchecked, that dynamic can leave you as the bottleneck every single time. To truly scale UX, we need to turn colleagues into active participants in the design process. That's more than just handing them a playbook. It's about shifting how they see their role. Before we look at the practicalities, let's break down the three changes that will set you up for success. Right now, your team is probably treated pretty much like a service desk. Others will delegate UX work to you, and the expectation is you'll simply execute their requests. And as long as that dynamic continues, there's going to be zero motivation for anybody else to develop UX skills for themselves. To change things, we're going to need to step back and redefine our role so we're less about implementation and more about enablement. That might mean that we'll need to say no to certain requests or to redirect colleagues to resources rather than solving the problem ourselves. At first, this is going to feel uncomfortable, but without that step, nothing else is going to stick. But once we've done that, we also need to democratize ownership of UX. Now, this is a hard one for perfectionists. If you want others to take responsibility, you have to let go of complete control. That means colleagues will sometimes make decisions differently from you, they will cut corners, and they will miss certain nuances. But that's okay. Progress beats perfection every time. Your job becomes ensuring that you have guardrails in place, such as the principles, standards, and lightweight processes we've talked about, so that their work lands in the right kind of ballpark. Over time, consistency and quality will improve, but only if people feel ownership from the very start. Finally, there is a piece I teased earlier when I outlined your role, and that's education. Colleagues won't suddenly know how to run a usability test or sketch a wireframe. They need skills and, just as importantly, confidence. And this is where workshops, training sessions, lunch and learns, and simple how-to guides come in. The goal isn't to turn everybody into a full-time UX designer, but it is to equip them with just enough knowledge to make user-centered choices in their everyday work. Now, if you're a freelancer or agency owner, this dynamic plays out with your clients too. They'll happily leave all the UX thinking to you unless you actively invite them in. That might mean coaching a client through a design sprint instead of running it solo, or providing them with a template to test their own ideas. It's not about doing less work, it's about shaping the relationship so the client shares ownership. That shifts you from being seen just as a vendor to being a trusted partner. So, over the next several lessons, we're going to explore all three areas that we've discussed: the transformation of your team, the democratization of ownership of UX, and education. In the next lesson, we're going to start with what's probably the most important piece, which is transforming your own team. Because if we don't change how we work, nobody else is going to change either.